So it's about 2 o'clock in the morning and I get this call, right? And usually when me and my wife go to sleep, she sleeps on the right side of the bed with a nightstand there. So, our phones and stuff be right there. So the phone is just blowing up, right? Now, my wife wake me up like, man, somebody calling you. I'm like, man, cut the phone off, because at that point, listen, and I'm just letting family, friends, associates, business people that I do business with, I'm not answering the phone past 10 p.m. because usually when I get a phone call, if it's not a business emergency, don't call me, because I always think the unthinkable. I think somebody done passed away, somebody done got shot. Don't ruin my night. Let me sleep. Let me worry about that tomorrow. All right. Do not call my phone with tragedy. Let me deal with that the next day. But this person kept calling and calling. So she was like, here, just answer it. So I answered, I'm like, hello. He like, hey, Dante, what's up, bro? This Jay, this little Jay. I said, who? He like, man, this little Jay, man, I can't really talk that long. I said, little Jay. He said, yeah, man, your old bunky, man. I'm like, oh, what up? So listen, y'all, I ain't been in prison in what? How old is my son? 11. I ain't been in prison almost in 12 years, okay? I ain't talked to this dude almost in a decade plus 2 years, right? So I'm like, Lil Jay, I said, what up, man? He was like, hey, man, I'm coming home tomorrow, bro. I'm coming home. I said, oh, what's up, man? I bet. He was like, hey, you still got me? You still got me? And like I said, y'all, I ain't been in prison in 12 years. I ain't spoke to this man in 12 years. So apparently, when I got out, I told him, I'll look out for him when he get out, give him a place to stay. Because my wife was in real estate at that time, and he kept violating or whatever, and he never could catch parole. So me and him really just stopped talking or whatever. But I did tell him when he got out, I was going to have my wife set him up or whatever, give him a little apartment, put a couple dollars in his pocket. And at that time, y'all, I was running a delivery business when I got out of prison or whatever. So I told him, all right, bet. But like I said, he kept messing up the prison. So me and him lost contact for 12 years. So here he calling. So I'm like, hey, I said, how you get this number? He was like, man, your mom's, man. See, my mama, she had the same number for the past 15 years, right? So he called her, whatever, she gave him my number, whatever. Because throughout the years, I done changed my number a couple times. I might change my number again, right? So nevertheless, he like, yeah, man, I'm coming home, man. I'm coming home. You got me? So I said, yeah, I got you. I said, you need a ride when you get home? He was like, yeah, man, I need the whole spread, man. I ain't got nothing and nobody to go to. I said, all right, now keep in mind, y'all, it's 2-something in the morning right now, okay? So I'm like, all right, I got you. I said, all right, just hit me up, because he's not on a prison phone. He on a contraband phone or whatever. So I said, all right, just hit me up, man. What time you supposed to get released? He was like, they say about 3-4 o'clock. I said, all right. I said, well, I got you. And keep in mind, y'all, this is Jackson, Michigan. It's a prison in Jackson, Michigan, called actually Jackson or whatever. It's like a reception center. So it ain't nothing but maybe about an hour, some change from Flint or whatever. So I'm like, all right, man, I'll be up there. So he, all right, thanks. I said, hit me up tomorrow though if you can. And he was like, all right. So I lay back down, right, and get my wife the phone. She was like, who the heck is that? I said, you remember when I got out my bunkie to do Lil J? She was like, yeah, so much. She was like, I was like, yeah, he supposed to be getting out tomorrow, whatever. And she was like, oh, okay. And I was like, hey, you got any units available, whatever? She was like, no, we have full capacity, whatever. So I'm like, all right. Now listen, y'all, we just purchased 2 duplexes already in Columbus, and they really nice. And I'm not putting him up in there. It just not happening. I'm not gonna put y'all in my business, but we remodeling these 2 duplexes or whatever, and we putting some real money in it. And no, he ain't going there. So I'm like, hey, babe, so what's up? We got to put them up. So she was like, we ain't got no houses or units available. And I was like, what about your brother? Now, not my brother, but my wife has a step brother, an older cat, and yeah, he's a gay guy, and his name Coco. We done used him before. He runs like a boarding house or whatever, where you pay for a room for like $400-500 or whatever. He got like a 6-bedroom house or whatever in the hood, and dudes that they ain't got nowhere to go or whatever, they would go there and pay him like $400-500, all bills paid or whatever, and you could stay there. So she was like, I'll give him a call in the morning or whatever. So I'm like, all right, bet. We're going to fast forward to the morning time. So it's about 11 o'clock or whatever. And my wife called her brother, Coco. Now, Coco is about 55 years old. He did about 15 years in the penitentiary. And unfortunately, he's a gay guy. And I'm not talking about the manly type of gay guy. I'm talking about, well, y'all hear his name is Coco. So, yeah, that's Coco. So my wife called him. She's like, what's up, Coco? How you doing? He like, oh, I'm good. What's going on, sis? She like, hey, Dante got a guy that's getting out of prison. Do you got any room over there? He was like, yeah, I just evicted 2 people out or whatever, and for not paying rent. But yeah, I got somebody. Who is this guy? So my wife was like, here go Dante. So I get on the phone. He like, hey, Dante. I said, well, what up, Coco? He like, I'm fine. He's like, so tell me, who is this guy? I said, he was my bunkie for a couple years when I was locked up or whatever. He needed a spot to crash, and he getting out today. He was like, oh, okay. You know my rules. So just tell him my rules or whatever. And the rent is $400, all bills included. Tell him he get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I don't want no mess at the house. He can smoke, but he got to smoke outside, and no company. I said, all right, I'll let him know, Coco. He's like, all right, Dante, take care. I said, all right, Coco. So my wife like, all good? I said, yeah. He said he can come over there, whatever. And I was like, I'm going to need about $1,200 because me and my wife, we got a joint bank account, whatever. So I told her I need about $1,200 to get Coco for at least 3 months, put my man up for 3 months, whatever, because the rent's $400. So that's $400, $800, $1,200, right? Excuse me, I had to cough. I just got over the flu, my bad. But anyway, he calls me around 1 o'clock, off the prison phone. You have a collect card from this little J. Answer the phone. At correctional facility, Jack says, please press 1 to connect the call. So I hit 1. I'm like, what up, Jay? He like, hey, Dante, we good? We still on? We good? I said, yeah, we good. He was like, oh, I bet. I said, so look, you're going to go to this boarding home. It's my wife's brother, whatever, and he going to charge you $400 rent, all bills included. You get breakfast, lunch, dinner. I'm gonna pay you up for 3 months, so that should be get you some breathing space to move around. All right. He was like, all right, bet, cool, yeah, thank you, man, thanks. I said, so did you get the time that you get released? He said, yeah, they said 3 o'clock, but you know how they is. I said, yeah, I know. So if you said 3 o'clock, I'll be there at 4. So he's like, all right, thank Dante, man. Thank you, man. This a blessing, bro. This is a real blessing. I do appreciate you, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. I said, I got you. So I hang up. So I tell my wife, like, hey, look, I'm about to head out or whatever. I'm about to go get something to eat. You want anything? She was like, no, I'm good. I said, all right. So I give my wife a kiss, and I jump in the car and I head out, right? So I'm cruising, riding, listening to YouTube stories and like that. Matter of fact, I tell you what I was listening to. I was listening to Stacy's Storytime. Now, I don't know if y'all ever heard of Stacy's Storytime, but when I'm on the road driving and, doing road trips or just driving around my city or whatever, that's what I listen to on YouTube. It's Stacy's Storytime. I'm going to have the link to her channel pinned at the top of the comment section. So Eventually, I pull up to the prison, right? And I'm just sitting there. I recline the seat back. I'm listening to Stacy's story time, whatever. And I lay back. I take a little nap. So I wake up because I hear like cars pulling up and stuff like that. I guess people there waiting to pick up their loved ones or whatever. So I end up putting the seat back up. And I get out the car and I'm sitting on the hood or whatever. So about 20 minutes to go by, and then the gate come open. The first gate come open, I see like a guard or whatever, and then you start seeing these guys coming out. It's about 7 dudes, and they got my man Lil J right there. So he's coming out. I'm like, Jay, what up? Jay, what up? He like, oh, what's up, Donta? Oh man, my nigga Donta, right? Oh man, it's been almost a decade. I'm like, what's up, my nigga? So, he come up to me, I come up to him, we dap each other up. I pull him close, man, what up, bro, man? You home, man, you free, homie. He like, yeah, man, hey, let's go get something to eat. I said, what you want? He like, man, look, man, I got this list, right? Hey, you got some money? I said, man, come on, man, this is me, man. He like, all right, listen. I want some Church's chicken, and oh my God, I want some Church's chicken. I want some jalapenos from Church's Chicken. I want some KFC. Then I want some Taco Bell. I want that five-layer burrito. Yeah, that's about. And I want Ohana lemonade and a cherry Pepsi. I said, say less. We out, right? So he get in the car and we riding, right? So we get to Flint. We pull up to Church's Chicken off of Corona Road right there. I forget, what's that, Corona and Ballinger? Right there by that stove. Taco Bell right there on the corner. So, we hitting all the spots up. He getting the food and he tearing it up, right? So I'm like, man, so what's good, man? How you been? He was like, shoot, man, you know how it is. It's prison, bro. It's prison. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something that kind of threw me off a little bit, just a little bit. Now, when he was talking, he had like this little lisp. You know what I'm talking about? Like when he say prison, he kind of like, he said like, man, you know how prison is? Just like prison. And he didn't really talk like that, or maybe I didn't realize he talked like that when he was in prison, but it was just kind of off. He kept like slurring his words a little bit, like adding emphasis on S's, and you know what I'm talking about? So I picked up on that. So I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So, he get us up. I'm like, hey, you want to see your mama or anybody? I'll take you to go see your family. He's like, man, F that, man. Ain't none of them up to look out for me. No, man. F my family, man. I ain't got no family. I said, oh, okay. So I was like, all right, well, look, I'm gonna take you over here to, to your place or whatever. He was like, all right, bet. I said, hold on. Matter of fact, let's go to Walmart. So we went to Walmart, whatever. So we get to Walmart. I got him some drawers, some T-shirts, a couple of sweat outfits or whatever, just to get them right. Because when I got out of prison, I ain't have nothing. So I know how it is. I got him a couple toothbrushes, a couple washcloths, bath towels, soap, like that, whatever. So, I hooked him up or whatever. So we end up pulling up. So when we get there, I'm like, all right, listen, this is my wife, brother. He is a gay guy. He did do time, but he cool though. So when I said that, he was like, oh, he gay? I was like, yeah, but he cool though. He was like, oh, okay. So, he grabbed his bags, his bags from prison, and, he grabbed his Walmart bags or whatever. So we pull up there and, I knock on the door. Coco answered the door. Hey, what's up, Donta? I said, what up, Coco? He like, oh, what's up? This your guy? I said, he was like, yeah, my name's Lil J. And they shook hands. Now, the way that they shook hands, I don't know why I zoomed in on it the way I zoomed in on it. Pause. But it's like, when you shake somebody's hand and they hand go limp like a sissy, you know what I mean? That's how my man Lil J did it. Like, I don't know, it was just weird looking. So I said, okay, let me meet your acquaintance. It's something, I don't know, it was weird. I said, all right. So I said, okay. So, Coco told him, like, hey, I serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can drink, you can smoke, but you got to do it outside. Absolutely no company, because I don't want my spot being blown up. I don't want the police out here. You can't do no drugs. If you do drugs, you got to go off the property or go to the park down the street. No nonsense. Keep your room clean. If you use a dish, take care of it. If you pee on the floor, whatever, clean it up. And, everything good. Rent is due on the 1st of the month. I give you to the 5th. Anything after the 5th is a $25 late charge. You got cable, just use the cord or whatever. And, that's it. All bills is paid. The water, electricity, all that's included, $400 a month. And Dante already paid 3 months. So, just respect your other roommates and everything good. So he like, all right, bet. So I said, all right, little Jay, I'm about to get up out of here, and I'll holler at you. So as I'm walking out, he like, all right, hey, Dante, man, I do appreciate this, bro. I do, man. I thank you for looking out for. I know it's been 10, 12 years, and we ain't spoke, but, man, I thank you for keeping your word, man. I said, I got you, man. I got you, but I'm finna roll up out of here. He's like, all right. But then I was like, oh, I forgot. You need a cell phone? He was like, yeah, I do. I do need a cell phone. So I know an Arab at the corner store or whatever. He got them Nextel wireless phones, whatever. It's like $20 for unlimited, whatever. Real cheap phone, but it'll get the job done, right? So I said, hold on, give me a minute. I'll be right back. So the store was literally down the street, so I jogged down there because I ain't feel like driving, so I jogged down there, past the people. What up, D? What up? This was in one of my old neighborhoods, whatever. What up, D? What up, y'all? Dante think he a superstar now. He on YouTube and all that. I'm like, man, y'all cut it out. Right, so I roll up at the store and I holler at my man. I'm like, yo, let me get one of them joints or whatever. So, we do the contract, whatever, $39.99 out the door. So I go back up the street, hand him a cell phone, and that's that. So I leave, right? I'm going to say 3 days have passed. 3 days have passed, right? And I ain't talked to him. And I'm cool with that, you know what I'm saying? On the real, I don't like to really be bothered anyway. I'm like an introvert, to keep it real with y'all. I like to really stay home and just do my own thing. I'm a homebody now, whatever. So I'm good. You ain't got to call me. I know where you at. But 3 days done passed. So I'm like, let me call him, see what's good with him, right? So I called Coco, right? Because I didn't have dude number programmed to my phone, and he didn't call me off the cell phone, whatever. So I called Coco, and I'm like, hey, Coco, what's going on? He's like, oh, nothing. You checking on your guy? I said, yeah, what's up? He good? He straight? He was like, yeah, he's good. He's good. I said, why you say it like that? He was like, oh, nothing. He real cool. He down to earth. He cool. I said, all right, I'm gonna come out there in a couple days or whatever. He's like, all right, tell my sister I said, hey. I said, all right, bet. Right, so I hang up. So I'm doing my thing, I'm doing my stories, editing videos, what I'm doing right now, my day-to-day life. And I get this feeling that came over me like something wasn't right. So I'm like, man, hold up. So I tell my wife, like, hey, I'm about to go check on Lil J and Coco or whatever. So she was like, all right, bet. So I get in the car and I'm driving, right? Coco's spot like 20 minutes away from my house, right? So I'm driving and I pull up. So I knock on the door. Remember, keep in mind, y'all, there's a lot of rooms in this house, whatever. This is a big house. It's a boarding house, right? So I knock on the door, and this white guy answers the door. That he lives there. He got a room there, whatever. I say, Coco them here? Coco Lil J here? He was like, I don't know who Lil J is, but he had Coco here. And I was like, all right. So I come in the house, right? Now, when you come in the house, as soon as if you coming in from the back door, to the right is Coco office. So when you come in through the back door, you go to the right, that's his office. When the door closed, he's not in there. So I said, okay. So when you keep going up, you go to the right from Coco office. There's like the family room right there. We know where everybody's like a TV, a big TV in there, and couches, whatever. And dudes just out there chilling, whatever, that live there, whatever. And then when you go to the left of that, there's the kitchen. And then when you go out of the kitchen, when you come out of the kitchen, there's the living room. And then when you go to the left of that, there's the 5 bedrooms, like side by side, 2 on this end, 2 on that end, and then 1 at the end of the corner, whatever. Now, Lil J room was the one to the right, almost towards the end, before you get to the 5th bedroom. So I walk down there and I knock on the door, and I don't hear anything, and he don't say nothing. So then I knock on the door again, and I hear Coco like, "Who is that? Who is that?" So I'm like, "What the?" Well, maybe Coco in there. So I'm like trying to open the door, but it's locked. So I'm like, "This Dante, right?" And then Coco was like, "Dante?" I said, "Yeah, this Dante." And he was like, "Oh, hold on." Now, I could be tripping, y'all. I might be tripping. I don't know. But I heard this. I heard whispering. 2 voices, Coco and another voice whispering back and forth. And I know I heard, tell them to go, get rid of them. I know I heard that. So I'm standing at the door, and then like maybe 40 seconds to go by, Coco come to the door smiling with his shirt off. And I'm like, "Hey, what Lil J at?" He was like, "Oh, he stepped out. He stepped, I think he went to the store or something." So I'm like, "The store?" He was like, "Yeah." Now keep in mind, y'all, the room is dark, so I can't see in. And the way Coco is standing, he's like blocking the door, like, so I can't really see in, right? But now I see like light coming from outside. So there's a window right there. And I hear movement in there. So I'm like, okay. I said, all right, well, I was just checking on y'all. That's it. He was like, all right, well, I'll tell him when he get back to call you, whatever. I said, all right, bet. So as I'm leaving out, right, I go out the back door. I see Lil J jogging, coming from on the side of the house, like from his window, where his window would be at. So I said, "What up, Jay?" He was like, "Oh, what's up, Dante?" Now he looked like he was out of breath and, nervous looking. I said, "Where you coming from?" He was like, "Oh, I was just walking around or whatever." I said, "Hey, Coco in your room?" He was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, Coco. I just knocked on the door, whatever, your bedroom, and Coco answered it. He acting weird or something." He was like, "Oh, man. Oh, he probably like cleaning up my room or something. I don't know, but yeah, I'm going to talk to him about that. I told him stop coming in my room or whatever when I'm not there." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Everything straight though? Everything good? You adjusting good?" He said, Yeah. I got a job at the tire shop too. I got a job there." I said, "Oh, okay. All right, bet. I said, "All right, well, that was good to see you, bro. I'll holler at you." He was like, "All right." So I get back in the car yard, and I'm pulling out the driveway. Now, I'm like, you know what? I think Lil J was in the room messing with Coco. Because just think about it. Why would Coco be in his room with the light off? And then I know I heard 2 voices in there, Coco and somebody. It had to be him, right? It had to be him. And what I'm thinking when I seen that light, that natural light from the window, I believe Lil J was jumping out the window, because it's a 1-story house, y'all. He ain't jumping off a 2-3-story house. So I think he opened the window, got out, and as I was coming around to go to the car, he was coming from the backyard. Like he snuck out the window. So this all what I'm thinking in my head, like, damn, man, I think, man, please tell me that Lil J ain't fucking with Coco, right? Y'all let me know in the comment section. Do y'all think my homie Lil J, that been in prison for all these years, is doing the unthinkable with my wife, brother-in-law Coco? Let me know in the comment section. because I could be tripping. I might be tripping because y'all know Donta always tripping, but I might not be tripping. So let me know in the comment section. Do y'all think that my wife, brother-in-law, Coco, and my homie Lil J is doing the unthinkable? Let me know in the comment section. Also, for the people out there that been wondering, yo, Donta, where the heck is your short films at? You said you got movies out, right? Yeah, I got movies, but you got to become a member to watch them. I got 3 videos up already. I'm going to have the link to become a member pinned at the top of the comment section. So y'all make sure y'all check that out, all right? I think it's like $4.99 to become a member. And every month I drop 2 new videos on there, 2 new skits, 2 more movies on there. So y'all make sure y'all check it out. Also, y'all, listen, I'm doing a supernatural vlogging channel now where I go to different cities, different states, and when I get my money up, different countries, and I'm going to all 100 spots, right, doing documentaries. So I'm gonna have that channel link pinned at the top of the comment section too. So y'all make sure y'all check that out, all right? Also, if y'all want to continue to support this channel, I'm gonna have my PayPal, my Zelle, and my Cash App at the end of this video. So y'all, if y'all want to continue to support what I'm doing, y'all can throw something in there for me. And with that, y'all be safe. Ask Yeshua, aka Jesus, aka Yahweh, Jehovah, the Holy Spirit to forgive you for all your sins. So with that, y'all, I'm gone. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to my movie and my gaming channel. I'm going to have that link pinned at the top of the comment section. Also, y'all subscribe to Stacy's Storytime. She's tell phenomenal stories just like myself. And if y'all feeling generous, make sure y'all leave me a tip. I'm accepting Cash App, Zelle, and PayPal. Until next time, y'all take care. I'm gone.